back to our GDPR for Hospitality series. I'm Mei Li. I'm a data privacy professional and your guide for the GDPR for Hospitality training series. Today, we dive into the heart of GDPR, the concept of personal data. At its core, laws like GDPR, Datenschutz, and KVKK are all about safeguarding personal data, which, legally speaking, belongs to the individual it pertains to. Essentially, it's the individual who has the ultimate say in how their personal data is used. In this unit, we'll delve into what exactly constitutes personal and sensitive data, bringing you relatable examples from our sector to illustrate these concepts more clearly. So what do we mean when we say personal data? Personal data is any information that identifies an individual. This can range from direct identifiers like names and ID numbers to indirect ones such as IP addresses. In our industry, whether it's a guest's contact details or an employee's payroll information, all fall under this category. Now, let's break down personal data into two categories to clarify the concept: direct and indirect. Direct personal data is straightforward and includes items like a guest's name, their email address, or an employee's credit card details. This type of data can be easily linked to an individual without needing any additional context. On the other hand, indirect personal data is less apparent but equally important. It encompasses elements such as online booking IDs or room preferences for guests, employees' schedules, or even vendors' organizational details. These bits of information might not scream personal data at first glance, but they can indirectly point to an individual's identity. We also need to consider online identifiers like IP addresses or device IDs. While these may not directly disclose someone's identity, they can be traced back to a specific individual, especially when they interact with our digital services. As we've seen, any piece of information that can be linked to an individual is classified as personal data. However, it's important to note that not all personal data carry the same weight or risk. Certain types of personal data, if disclosed or mishandled, could cause significant harm, such as discrimination, damage to reputation, or financial loss. These are referred to as sensitive personal data and are granted extra protection under the law. Sensitive personal data, also known as special categories of data, require heightened safeguards. The GDPR recognizes the need for additional protection for this type of data because of the profound impact it can have on an individual's privacy and fundamental rights. Such data encompass a range of deeply personal attributes, including race, health status, sexual orientation, and religious beliefs, among others. It's essential to handle these with the utmost care and consideration due to their sensitivity. Given the heightened sensitivity and increased responsibility associated with special categories of personal data, it's particularly crucial for data controllers, like hotels, to adhere to the principle of data minimization. This principle advocates for a prudent approach. If certain sensitive data isn't essential for your operation, it's best to avoid processing it altogether. By limiting the amount of sensitive data you handle, you not only reduce the potential risk and burden on your establishment, but also align more closely with GDPR's ethos of respecting individual privacy. Adopting data minimization as a standard practice is a smart and responsible strategy for data management within the hospitality industry. In our day-to-day operations within the hospitality sector, we encounter various special categories of personal data as outlined in GDPR. It's important to recognize and handle these with extra care due to their sensitive nature. Health information. A prevalent type in our industry is health information. This could be dietary needs, disabilities, or medical conditions of guests and employees, such as gluten allergies or accessibility requirements for those with mobility challenges. Racial or ethnic origin. We might collect this data for demographic analysis or to accommodate special requests. An example could be preparing culturally specific amenities for guests from diverse backgrounds. Political opinions. These might be inadvertently gathered during political events or conferences hosted at our facilities. Religious or philosophical beliefs. Instances where this data is processed can include catering to specific dietary restrictions like kosher or halal meals for guests based on their religious practices. Trade union membership. This typically relates to employee data, particularly when managing staff who are part of labor unions and require specific considerations in terms of working conditions or benefits. Genetic and biometric data. Although less common in everyday operations, This category includes any unique identification data, such as fingerprints used for secure access to certain facilities within a hotel, sex life or sexual orientation. An example is when guests specify room-sharing preferences, which might indirectly reveal their sexual orientation. Recognizing and adequately managing these special categories of personal data is vital. It involves not just legal compliance, but also a demonstration of respect and sensitivity towards the personal attributes of guests and employees. By effectively managing this sensitive data, you not only adhere to legal standards, but also enhance the trust and confidence of those you serve. Identifying and safeguarding personal data and special categories of personal data is not just a legal obligation, it's a commitment to ethical hospitality. By respecting the privacy of our guests and employees, we build a foundation of trust and integrity in our services. To sum up, recognizing and responsibly handling both personal and sensitive data is fundamental in our GDPR compliance journey. In our next session, we'll explore data processing responsibilities in the hospitality industry. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to visit gdpr4hospitality.net for more resources.